Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by my counterpart on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. A pretty big slate on Friday to end the week for you guys tonight. Another great article from Nate on playpicks.com. Some good advice with DFS in there as well. And we will have another gift card for you coming up here in just a minute with a prop. Make sure that you are liked and subscribed to the page, and then jump in those comments to be eligible to give us the total. We'll drop on you in just a sec. And as always, if you do need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all those local listings in your area, such as what we're about to deliver for tonight, Friday the 2nd, Nate.
Yes, sir. Nice big slate tonight. Plenty to watch for. We have the Warriors +2 at Raptors. The Rockets are up to +11 at your inconsistent Celtics. Mavs -6 at the Knicks. Hornets are +4 after getting smoked by the Nets last night at Pacers. Wolves are +6 at Grizzlies. The Pelicans are now a -2 favorite against the Hawks. Bulls down to +12 at Jazz. Donovan Mitchell questionable. Zach LaVine questionable on the other side there. Thunder are +13 at the Suns. The Bucks -3 at the Blazers. And the Lakers +4.5 at Kings. So, Josh, when I looked at the opening lines last night, the first thing that caught my eye was that Pelicans game. They were originally +2 dogs at home, and I was jumping all over that. I think you have another example of a team just completely overlooking Orlando. They rested all their important stars last night, lost to the Magic, and that kind of resulted in that lower spread. But that puts them at an advantage tonight against a Hawks team that's in the last game of their 8-game road trip. Just went to overtime last night against the Spurs.
Overtime.
Good call. They've definitely gone through some growing pains here, this young team under an interim coach on the road, but their defensive rating has plummeted. They're 28th in defensive rating over their last 8 games. They're going to be without John Collins and DeAndre Hunter tonight, arguably the two most important guys to match up with the Pelicans, right? Against Ingram and Zion Williamson, both of whom are on fire. Zion in his last 5, 32.4 points per game at 66% field goal. Ingram getting 25 points per game, shooting nearly 50% from 3 in that span. And the Pels are actually playing defense lately. They're 11th in defensive rating in their last 10 games. They're still vulnerable against the 3, but the Hawks are the 10th lowest in terms of percentage produced off threes. They have athletic guards. Even if Lonzo Ball's out, Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Eric Bledsoe are good covers on Trae Young. I like the Pelicans at home, where they've been far more consistent. They average 5 more points per game. While their overs haven't been hitting lately, I still got to think that they have a good shot here with it just at 222. Their home games average 231, and they're 20-6 against the over at home. Hawks have gone over in 4 straight. I prefer just taking the Pelicans because they have been trending under lately. But if you want to parlay the Pelicans and the over, you can get something over +200 on DraftKings.
I'm with it. I think you're getting good value here for the Pellies when you've got Collins and Hunter still out for the Hawks. They're just a much different team. Can't really play defense, and Zion is here. I think we have the current version of Zion is here to stay and is only going to keep getting better, which is 30+ points on 65+% shooting. It's unreal. So I'm going to enjoy watching that game tonight. A game I may not enjoy watching as much, but it should have at least some stars in it, is that Utah-Chicago game. Per the NBA, every single day, up to the minute, we need to monitor who's playing and who's not, literally up to the minute of the game. And so, right now for the Bulls, you've got LaVine and Kobe White potentially not playing. It doesn't look like they will play against the Jazz. This spread started at only about -6.5 for the Jazz. It has ballooned to 12.5, which tells me that there's some pretty, reliable information that those two guys are not going to play for the Bulls tonight. And just a few things that point to Chicago being able to handle, it's a very big spread at -12. But they have won their games recently by an average of 18 points on their 5-game win streak, as I just mentioned. So 18 points a game, that's well over that 12. You've got Donovan Mitchell back in the lineup likely tonight. He is expected to play, although he's still slightly TBD. And then, basically the Bulls have been really bad since they made that trade, which is difficult to watch. Honestly, they're 1-4 against the spread in their last five. And, they've only got 101 points per game scored in their last six. So, the under is something that I'm eyeing here as well as that total. Honestly, I think I'm going to tease both those games down with a game I'll probably talk about in a minute. But it's either way. I think, right now you can still find some pretty good value for a Jazz team that beats up on teams when they win, and has been back to form very much so lately.
Yeah, I mean, if Levine and Kobe White are indeed out, then it's going to be all Vucevic against Rudy Gobert. And just looking up his recent numbers, he had a nice game against Gobert at home last time out, but his last four trips to Utah have been a bit of a disaster in terms of turnovers and only getting about 15 points in those games. So yeah, I think the Jazz can once again pull away. They're just too much for bad teams, and they are reliable in terms of covering those big spreads. Game I'm looking at out on the West Coast that's going to be a lot of fun to watch is the Blazers hosting the Bucks. The Blazers, they got the band back together. CJ McCollum's been back 9 games. They have the best offensive rating in the NBA during that span. They're still integrating Norman Powell, who has killed the Bucks lately as well. They have Yusuf Nurkic, who's still only playing around 20, 25 minutes, but will do a good job closing off the paint for Giannis and company. Bucks are a hard team to figure out right now. I don't know if they're going to win or lose this game. That's not really my angle. They've won at Moda Center in 8 of their last 9, which is impressive, but they've failed to cover in 12 of their last 14 at West Coast Western Conference teams. They still don't have a good record against winning teams, and they're decent in close games, but the Blazers are the number 5 team in terms of winning clutch games. Now they have CJ back. You gotta like that. So if I'm looking at an angle, it's on a Blazers money line because I think this game is a toss-up. I think they're getting some value at home here as underdogs. They are 14-6 against the Eastern Conference, and their offense has been on fire mainly because of CJ lately. He's getting 26 points per game. He's a plus 20 in plus-minus rating. He's killed the Bucks, 29.8 points per game, 5.5 assists per game. His last 4 against Milwaukee. So you look at his props, 22.5 points. I like him going over there. 4.5 assists. He can go over there. Bucks are 8th worst in terms of assist to turnover ratio. And then if you want to take the money line and back CJ, that FanDuel player performance double gets you plus 400 odds for CJ to get 25 points in a game that, has a 238 total. Again, I'm staying away from that. That's just too high. I would expect it to go over, if anything, because these teams can get 120. But my angle is CJ McCollum getting his fair share of points in a high-scoring game.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. CJ has scored at least 23 in his last 4, as they've got a nice win streak going. As I mentioned, their last 4 there. So I'm going to follow you on all that stuff. Really going to enjoy watching this game. And as you mentioned, that spread, it started at about 5 for in favor of the Bucks. It's dropped down as I think people realize the Bucks are not playing well against good teams, nor are they doing that specifically on the road as well. So I'm loving CJ there as well. And then a game that I'm going to be using in a couple of teases, Nate, that Knickerbockers game against the Dallas Mavericks. Just some interesting stats when you look at the numbers between these two teams. It's not surprising, to see that the Knicks consistently go under, regardless of, who they're playing, especially, at home this year. And they are good, at home as well, as hitting a lot of unders there. They're 15-7-1 against the spread in their last 23 at home overall. And when they do play as an underdog, an interesting stat, when they lose as an underdog, they only lose by an average of 3 points. So, about a 5.5 point spread for the Mavs in New York. I don't really like it for the Mavs. I mean, both these teams play at a really slow, choppy pace, like bottom 2 and 3 in the league in pace. And then, the Knicks, obviously they defend the 3 incredibly well. And they defend the paint incredibly well. The Mavs do rely on the 3 a lot, from Kristaps, Tim Hardaway, as well as Luka pulling, combined, I believe, almost 23s a game just from those 3 guys. So, you're looking at a lot of threes needed from the Mavs. They've continued to go under 4-9 against the spread as well in their last 13 games after they won against the spread, which they did recently as well. So, I don't think they're able to put that stuff consistently together as far as the results go. I am going to tease, I think, a couple of things here. I'm going to take that Utah game and tease them down to -7, tease the Knicks up to +11, get that at even money on FanDuel. And one more again with those two games, I'm going to take that Utah under 228.5 against the Bulls. So I get that at 228.5, and then I get the Knicks under against the Mavs at under 218. So, teasing those unders up and a couple of those lines there to get a few extra points and feel pretty comfortable with those two games on my betting slate tonight.
Yeah, I feel real comfortable with the Knicks as double-digit underdogs at home, as good as the Mavs have been lately. There's the Kristaps Porzingis revenge angle there. That's a DFS play we can talk about in a minute. But first, Josh, we're talking about CJ McCollum a lot, and that is our gift card tonight. If you guys like and subscribe, please put in the comments what CJ will get total for points, rebounds, and assists tonight. If you get that number correct, we'll get that gift card out to you by Monday. So again, like and subscribe the video, and you have a shot at winning that. And my DFS plays.
Just a real quick thing, I just wanted to jump in because there's been some confusion. Feel free to throw the same guess as somebody else. We will give away 2 gift cards. Don't worry about that. Just put exactly what you think in those comments after you liked and subscribe.
Yeah, and no price is right. You don't have to be closest without going over here.
Right.
So obviously, I think Dame or CJ should be in your lineup tonight in that high-scoring Bucks game. I love Dante DiVincenzo as just a cheap cash play. He's been super reliable, getting you 20 fantasy points. In terms of super value, we're looking at the OKC Thunder, who are +13 tonight. They're just benching everybody, have injuries all over. Guys like Theo Maledon, Svi Mykhailiuk, fan of the show, also very cheap. John Moran is still underpriced given his role. He faces a bad Wolves defense tonight. Christian Wood is playing the pillow soft Celtics, so that's something to look at. And Gary Trent is starting to really cook for Toronto. They face a Warriors team on the second leg of back-to-back. That's really bad defense on the road. He's worth a look in tournaments.
Nice. Yeah, I'm with it. We'll be playing some head-to-head tonight, I'm sure, to end the week. That is all the time that we have for today. We'll be back next week with another video, hopefully giving away a gift card after tonight's game. As always, please like and subscribe to that video. Jump in the comments. Let us know who you guys are betting on tonight, and we'll be having some fun watching those games with you. See you guys on Monday. And as for this weekend, happy betting.